Calling this meeting to order at 7 p.m. For the audience here today, the City of Glendora utilizes a hybrid meeting format to allow for participation both in person and virtually. In consideration of others and the business conducted tonight, please silence your phones and any electronic devices, and please refrain from speaking unless recognized. This is a public meeting for the community of Glendora. We appreciate and respect your participation here tonight. Madam Clerk, if you'll please call roll.
Thank you. So at this time, I will conduct an oral roll call and request that each commissioner respond with the word present when their name is called. Commissioner Basara,
Present.
Commissioner Davis,
Present.
Commissioner Faber,
Present.
Vice Chair Norwood,
Present.
Chair Cost.
Present.
All members are present. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, Vice Chair Norwood will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone wish to reorder or add to tonight's agenda? Okay. All right, at this time, I'm going to open public comment period. I now invite members of the public to address the Planning Commission. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once on and off agenda items. All questions should be directed through the presiding officer. This is your time to speak uninterrupted. If you are in attendance, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording administrator before the close of the public comment period. Once recognized, speakers should advance to the podium, state your name and the subject matter you wish to discuss. If you are participating via Zoom, select the raise hand icon in Zoom before the close of public comment. Once recognized, you will receive a request to unmute, state your name and the subject matter you wish to discuss.
So at the moment, I have not received any public comment cards. Do we have anybody who would like to speak on anything? We have none.
Okay. Do we have any requests from Zoom?
We have no one on Zoom.
Okay. Then at this time, I am closing public comment. And I am inviting each commission member to provide a statement. Commissioner Basara?
I have nothing at this time.
Okay. Commissioner Faber?
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Davis?
Nothing. Thank you.
Vice Chair Norwood?
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
And I also at this time have nothing. So I will invite Community Development Director Jeff Kugel and Assistant City Attorney Danny Elshire to provide a statement.
No statement. Same here. Thank you.
Okay. So at this time, we are looking at item number 2 on the agenda, a resolution of the Planning Commission approving a development plan review for the construct of a multi-level single-family hillside house with cantilevered decking, associated grading, and detached garage on certain property located at 1826 Bluebird Road, Glendora, California. Project number PLN 200035. Applicant is Patrick Zerpicki. Property owner is Melissa Wang. At this point, I declare the public hearing open and I invite planning technician Aaron Sines to present the staff report.
Good evening, Chair Cost and Commissioner. Tonight before you is an application for a development plan review for the construction of a new multi-level single-family hillside house with cantilever decking, associated grading, and a detached structure. The subject site is located on a vacant lot at 1826 Bluebird Road within a gated community on the south side of Bluebird Road. It is comprised of one legal lot and is approximately 1.5 acres in size. Here is the overall proposed site plan showing the proposed project. The site features a multi-level home and a detached structure in the front of the house with a front setback of 23 feet to reduce impact on the slope areas that exceed 35%. So the proposed project has been reviewed and is consistent with the applicable development standards for construction on the rural hillside residential zones. Although the applicant is proposing a 23-foot front setback and shows it as non-conforming in the development standards table. The code allows for the community development director to increase or decrease the minimum setback requirements to preserve the natural topography or other natural features. In this scenario, the front setback is reduced to 23 feet to not encroach in that 35% or greater slope area. This slide is a setback exhibit, which shows examples of front setbacks within the Bluebird Road community. The setbacks vary in between 20 to 35 feet on several of the properties within that community. Here are the proposed floor plans and elevations for the proposed project. This is the entry level and detached garage / workshop. The entry level is essentially below grade that goes up into the main lower floor plan, which includes the bedrooms and typical features found in a single family house, such as bedrooms, offices, kitchens, dining rooms, etc. And as well as cantilever decking and view decks that do not contain any foundation going into the 35% slope area. So just moving through these slides, this is the main upper floor level, which includes the kitchen, dining room, and other bedrooms within the floor plan of the house. This is the side elevation or the north elevation. The residence does not exceed the 25-foot maximum height requirement or maximum height. Yeah, so it does not exceed the 25% maximum height. It uses a stepped foundation to take advantage of the topography and not increase any or further grading on the site. Here's another side of elevation of the residence. On this side, on this elevation that faces the south, you can view the cantilever deckings above the slope area with no footings going into that, and it's remaining undisturbed. Here's the rear elevation. This is at the upmost part of the property. And that is where adjacent to the kitchen, dining room, and a small barbecue area outdoor. Here's the front elevation, which shows the garage that is essentially located below the grade to kind of maximize the uses of the lot. But if it's if it's looked at with the articulations between the shed roofs, it doesn't show a flat facade. It has articulation and and is not blank surface that you'd be looking at. Attached here are some rendered views of the project. The project proposes a contemporary modern design with those natural elements such as a split level shed style metal roofs, board form concrete, wood sidings, and a neutral color palette. This is the rendering on the north side that implements some of the landscaping, which provides it provides the home with excuse me. Oh, sorry. It provides the house with screening so that it provides the house with some screening. This is another rendering on the south side of the property. Again, you can see the featured cantilever deckings there and view decks. This is the colors and materials board. It shows a board formed concrete, the wood siding, and a neutral color palette for the residents. On April 19th, 2023, notices were mailed out to all property owners within 500 feet, and notices were also published in the San Gabriel Valley Examiner. Staff recommends the approval of the categorical exemption pursuant to CEQA, and also recommends the adoption of the approval resolution. The project architect and I are present for questions.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I would like to invite the applicant, Melissa Wang, to address the commission.
Client is actually, sorry. Hello, my name is Patrick Sapicki. I'm the architect on the project.
Okay.
Melissa Wang, the only homeowner, is out of state, but she is, I think, witnessing on Zoom. So if there's any questions for her, I'm sure she'll be able to answer those. Thank you, Aaron, for presenting our project. We all know that the constraints of building a hillside project can be quite daunting. We've spent the last 30 months working with a various number of the planners on staff to manage the export and grading on the property, introduce an upslope design, managing the height restrictions. As we slope up, we always have to keep stepping back. And then on this one particular site, even though it's a large property, there is a pretty tight constraint of how much we can actually build in with the 35% slope. So that kind of navigated the design from the get-go. We kind of came up with this contemporary ranch with some low slope roofs, looking at some natural products and color palettes to, blend seamlessly into the hillside as we stacked up the slope. It's about 5,000 square foot home, which is pretty modest for the size of this property. And actually, in reality, the upsloping and the slab elevations drove it to be a little bit bigger than the client actually wanted. So some of the mid slope floor plan is a little bit more, manageable than we could have probably achieved. But we did really try to minimize the grading because that's one of the big specifics of working within the hillside. I don't know if you guys have handy in your packet, but like A15 is a nice rendering that shows how we're, stacking up the property and kind of seamlessly screening with some landscape from Bluebird. Other than that, I'm free to answer any questions you guys might have about the design or the process that we went through in putting this proposal together.
Okay, would we do questions now or later?
Is that okay?
Or should we do it after public comment?
What do you mean?
I would take public comment first and
Okay.
then questions.
All right, thank you. All right, at this time, I invite members of the public to address the commission to provide public testimony. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes speaking once on this public hearing item. This is your time to speak uninterrupted. Once recognized, the speaker should advance to the podium, state your name, and all questions should be directed through the presiding officers. So have we received any public comment cards?
I have received none. Is anybody wishing to speak? Okay, and I have nobody on Zoom either.
Okay. Okay, so if there are no Zoom participants, then we'll go ahead and close public testimony and go on to discussion from the commissioner. So Commissioner Basara.
Thank you. I think it's a beautiful project, and I think a lot of thought went into how you cantilevered that down for this particular site. 2-car parking that's a pretty big house for 2-car parking. Where is there like a landing where you can put other cars, like for a party or?
So there is an attached 2-car garage, and the detached structure is another garage and workshop. So 4-car
Oh, okay. So, but are there places where people can park in the event of a party or something like that?
Yeah, they're within the driveway and the turnaround within the driveway area. Yeah, there's parking spaces available, if not in the garage.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, I got a few questions. Where's the 23 feet measured from? Is that the center of the road or the curb or the
Um,
property? Where does the property line end?
So it's, yeah, so it is measured from the property line, but there is an easement, for the road.
Okay, so but I know in some areas the property line extends to the center of the road and part of the road is considered easement.
Um,
My property is.
From the center line of the property line, we are 40 feet. It's the 23 feet from the easement of the road is where the setback is, the 23-foot setback.
Okay. And where's the 25-foot height measured from? Because this is, this is kind of stacked 3 layers, 3 levels.
Mhm.
And I think I've asked this question before. So is it measured from the lower level to the closest adjacent roof line?
it's measured from the finished grade.
So where I'm on 10.
From the adjacency of the closest grade that's up against the house, that's where that, basically your 25% slope line is kind of following the grade that's.
So it does not include the garage level.
Correct. So the finished grade would be the grade that's right outside of the wall, right
Okay.
outside of the structure. And from there, it's measured vertically up 25 feet.
Okay.
But imagine it going 25, going up the slope, the same measurement going all the way
So
up and down.
It changes with the grade. So if the grade goes this way, the 25 feet follows that grade. So the height changes.
Got it.
Mhm.
Okay, in a situation like this, technically you could say it's 3 stories. It's not, it's 2 stories, but it's multi-level. Can the garage down the road be converted to a junior ADU?
Yeah.
I don't think in the hillside.
Sorry. So in the hillside, it cannot because it's a high fire zone.
Okay.
Yes.
And were there any responses from the public, from the notices sent out?
No,
I
there were
missed-
no
yeah,
responses.
Okay. Is there a percent of hardscape that we have? It looked like there was a fair amount of concrete, hard surface, hardscape there. Do we have a percent on that? Don't we require a certain percent for drainage?
Yeah, there's a lot coverage maximum that includes hardscape with certain exceptions, such as the primary driveway, certain walkways leading to doors and things like that. So that would have been calculated as part of the review, that they did not exceed the maximum lot coverage for the lot based on the.
Okay, is that
average slope.
something that should have been on our table here?
There should be on
An
the. ta-
FAR,
There should, well, should be a lot coverage
coverage, yeah.
calculation.
but it's a very, very large property. From what I understand.
We've actually, the design intent because of the upslope, the design intent with the upslope, we actually minimized the driveway location to the bare minimum because we didn't want to provide a hammerhead for the fire department. So we actually, it's close as possible to where it can be
The
to allow.
hammerhead turnaround?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we go into the property enough, minimally, that we don't have to provide the hammerhead. Because if we had to provide the hammerhead, we'd have a lot of front driveway and then it would create a lot of stepping back, so.
Right.
Commissioner, the lot coverage is on the table. It's 10%, which is conforming.
Okay, so that includes hardscape.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Faber.
Yeah, it's a great looking building. I think it's going to be very nice. I like the board form. I think that's a beautiful addition to that space. And that's all I have.
Okay. Vice Chair Norwood?
Yeah, I concur. I mean, I think the project is well done and looks like it minimizes a lot of grading as opposed to just cutting it out and dropping a flat parcel in there. I know it's private roads up there. So, and maybe I missed it, but is there anything in there that upgrades the private roads? And we had a project up there that we talked about or was brought to us about a year ago or so. And there were some upgrades with the private roads on the widening of it. And I was wondering if this had the same type of, because and it really came from the fire department as far as the width of the road and things like that.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
That wasn't a requirement for that. Typically, it might come from fire if there's improvements that they might have to widen the road or also, pave the road to allow for the fire truck access.
We have worked with fire, so we have a approval on access to the property. We have to get our other approvals once we go to building department, but we do have our access approval on the project.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, I too think it's a well thought out project, but I have a couple questions. So the reason that we are easing up on the setback is to decrease the amount of grading that has to happen, correct? Okay, that's what I thought. And I noticed there are many conditions of approval, a lot of those having to do with being in a very high fire district, very high fire zone. Are we okay with all of those? And are those all acceptable to you? Okay.
Yes, we've worked with fire and on similar projects. I've had conversations to get the requirements of access and hydrant location done at this stage. And then the rest will be the overhang details and the building details to create the high fire or the 1 hour fire restriction.
I think it's sprinklers required, those
Yes, they
types
will,
of things too. Okay.
So Patrick, I think she's asking if you would acknowledge your acceptance of all the conditions.
Yes, I'm familiar with them and they're nothing extraordinary that we don't usually deal with. So.
Okay. That's it for my questions. So I'm going to close public hearing and request a motion.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Faber and seconded by.
Okay, should I read it?
Yep. go for
All
it.
right. So the motion is to open and conduct public hearing, accept evidence and testimony presented in the absence of substantial evidence to the contrary, consider a categorical exemption for the project pursuant to 15303 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines and adopt a planning commission resolution PC 2023-05 entitled "A Resolution of the Planning Commission Approving a Development Plan for the Review of the Construction of a Multi-Level Single-Family Hillside House with Cantilever Decking, Associated Grading, and Detached Garage on certain property located at 1826 Bluebird Road, Glendora, California. Project number PLN 220035. Applicant Patrick Zerpicki and property owner Melissa Wang.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ferber and seconded by Chair Cost. So now we'll conduct an oral call vote, as well as if you guys can please vote on your monitor. Commissioner Basara,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Faber,
Yes.
Vice Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Chair Cost,
Yes.
motion carries 5-0.
Okay, so next item, consideration of a resolution to approve a conditional use permit for the allowance of an alteration of an existing non-conforming use by converting the existing service bays and expanding the associated convenience store and improving the exterior of the building at 106 East Route 66, AIN 8644001046, Glendora, California. Project number PLN 210035. Applicant Kelvin Lee, property owner Syed Jawalarkimi. I hope I didn't mangle that too badly. So at this time, I will declare the public hearing open and invite Senior Planner Natalie Espinoza to present the staff report.
Thank you, Chair Costs, and members of the commission. Tonight before you is an application for conditional use permit to allow the alteration of an existing non-conforming service station by converting the existing service bays into an expansion of the existing convenience store and to allow associated exterior alterations. The project site is located at the southeast corner of Route 66 and Glendora Avenue. The site was developed as a service station in 1963. This is the proposed site plan. There really aren't going to be many changes to the site as they are keeping the existing locations of the accessible parking. They are adding accessibility paths to the street and adding some fencing towards the rear of the property to make sure people don't loiter on site. The site is composed of one lot with an area of approximately 15,500 square feet. There's an existing building that is 1,680 square feet and it has two canopies with a total of 1,798 square feet. The existing site plan is on the left, which shows that it consists of a small convenience store with like a mechanic area with 3 service bays. There's a small back room and a small office. And the proposed floor plan on the right shows that the service bays are being eliminated and converted into a larger convenience store. And where the existing convenience store is, there's going to be a larger back room area and also a larger office. So there isn't going to be exterior construction in expanding the size of the location. It's just for expanding what's already within the footprint of the building. These are the existing elevations, which show it's all existing 4 elevations, and it shows that it has the 3 service bay doors. And this is these are the proposed elevations that show that they're going to update the exterior of the building by removing those doors and adding windows with some wainscoting, stone veneer, and larger glass doors. Staff also included a condition of approval where the mechanical equipment on the roof is going to be it's going to be screened, and we're asking the applicant to work with staff so that it is more architecturally compatible with the building. Notices were mailed out to the property owners within 500 feet, and notices were also published in the San Gabriel Valley Examiner on April 19th, 2023, not 2022. I apologize. Staff recommends the approval of the conditional use permit, and the property owner and I are available if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I invite applicant Kelvin Lee to address the commission.
He is not here, but the owner is.
Oh. Yeah, would you like to address the commission? Okay. You don't have to, it's just an opportunity if you want to. Okay, all right. Okay, all right, great. So at this time, any members of the public, I invite you to address the commission to provide public testimony. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once on this item only. Do we have any comment cards?
We have no public comment cards and there's nobody on Zoom.
Okay. So at this time, I will go ahead and invite discussion and deliberation from the commissioners. Commissioner Basara, questions?
I do have some questions. So it sounds to me like we're expanding the convenience store that's existing. And does it have a name, the convenience store?
Can you speak into?
As far as the major brand name is concerned, I have not decided yet, but I have to. If I want to go with like the one that are famous, like go with the Chevron or the Arco, I have to discuss with them, and then they require a change of structure and changing the whole, everything that we have already done. Most likely not, you know.
Okay.
It's not going to be branded.
I see. So I guess my question is it going to be more of like a 7-Eleven or a Circle K?
Exactly, just
It
what I
is.
just said. No, it's not going to be a Circle K or 7-Eleven. is not gonna allow anybody to open up the market in Southern California anymore. They want minimum of 3,000 square feet. They want grocery store. They're out of it.
Okay,
They're not gonna get mixed with it. And then the Circle K has its own brand. So it is gonna be 2, 3 items that I have not decided yet, but if I do, most likely not, because if I decide to go with the Circle K or any other brand, okay, even Chevron's Extra Mile, they have decided to go with non-Chevron gasoline, then they require completely different structure. We have to change everything. You know, they want their own look outside and inside.
So it sounds like you're saying you'll be kind of like independent.
Yes.
Okay.
it is.
okay.
Okay, Commissioner Davis, questions?
Yeah, I've got a few. Why is it non-conforming?
The reason it's non-conforming is because in the Route 66 specific plan, gas stations or service stations are not allowed in corners.
Okay. I've never seen a gas station that isn't on a corner. Okay, now was that, that's a 76 though, isn't it? Yeah,
Very important that if I want to go with the Circle K or all those brands that I forgot to say, they want beer and wine. They want the permit to sell beer and wine. And as far as I know, they're not allowing me to have that, because if you get the beer and wine, automatically the business goes up 100% in a convenience store. If you don't have it, so that's why most of them refuse to brand.
thank you. So I don't know if this is for you or for the applicant. Does 76, your gas is staying?
Correct. So the gas station is staying, it's just the interior of the building that's being remodeled.
Okay, same
Mhm.
amount of pumps?
Same, yeah, nothing outside,
items,
nothing under the
everything.
canopies is being changed. It's just all within the footprint of the building.
And this is a little outside the box here, but did you do auto repair there as well?
Yes, you're doing, I'm a licensed technician for past 30 years. And
Was-
it's very hard to find good technician now, because, you know, you have to be really smart, and we almost engineers.
Yeah.
So as you see, it's very hard to find help.
Where I'm going with this is, was there a sales tax on automobile mechanic work
Labor, everything the parts.
on
yes.
parts? Okay, so would it be safe to say that we've been,
Can you speak in the microphone? Yeah, when you answer the question.
so
I'm
would
sorry.
it be safe to say that by approving this, the city would recognize a little bit higher tax benefit
Absolutely.
because of
yes,
the retail sales?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Faber?
It sounds like I mostly got cleared up, but I'll just state it and then confirm it. So it's a 76 gas station. It's gonna stay a 76
Correct.
gas station. It's a 76 small convenience store with a mechanics bay. It's just getting blown out to sell convenience store.
Correct.
No alcohol.
No alcohol.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I just want to understand it. Thank you.
Okay, Vice Chair Norwood.
And no, are you discontinuing auto repair then altogether?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. I got it. Thank
And I think all the questions I had were already asked, so that's it for me. So at this time, I will ask for a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Just real quick.
So we have a motion to open and conduct public hearing, accept evidence and testimony presented in the absence of substantial evidence to the contrary. Consider the following: adopt a categorical exemption for the project pursuant to 15301 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines, and adopt a planning commission resolution PC 2023-05 entitled "A Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Glendora, California, approving a conditional use permit allowing an alteration of a non-conforming use by converting the existing service station bays and expanding the associated convenience store, including exterior building improvements at 106 East Route 66 Glendora, California. Project number PLN 210035. Applicant Kelvin Lee, property owner Syed Jawal Karimi. I hope I didn't say that too badly. Okay,
So we have a motion by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Chair Cost. I will now conduct an oral roll call vote, as well as if you can please vote on your monitor. Commissioner Basara,
No.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Faber,
Yes.
Vice Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Chair Cost.
yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
Okay, next item is the consent calendar. Does anyone wish to comment on item number 4? Okay, so then I request a motion to approve consent calendar item number 3 as presented.
Make a motion to affirm minutes from March 7th.
Do we have a second? Oh, perfect. So we have a motion by Vice Chair Norwood, seconded by Commissioner Basara. I will now conduct an oral roll call vote, as well as if you guys can please vote on your monitors. Commissioner Basara,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
I was not at that meeting, but I did watch the meeting.
perfect. And then, so that's okay. That counts.
So I can vote.
Yes, that
Okay.
counts.
Okay, I'm good. Yes.
Commissioner Faber,
Yes.
Vice Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Chair Cost,
Yes.
motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Item number 5 is new business. And at this time, we have a Transportation Division update. I invite Transportation Manager Stephen Matier to report.
Great. Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Stephen Matier. I'm the Transportation Manager for the City of Glendora. The item before you is an update on the progress of our projects and programs of our division, as well as we can discuss implementation of the city's general plan, part of our efforts. So as by way of background, our division's role is to operate our public transit, so dial-a-ride and fixed route. We also do active transportation planning and project delivery. We do our compliance reporting to the FTA, Metro, and Air Quality Management District, as well as coordinate with Foothill Transit, Gold Line, Metro, Metrolink for regional service. One of the major projects that we have right now, and is a key part of the general plan's air quality element, is converting our transit fleet to zero emission. Our rollout plan was adopted by the City Council in September of 2022, which laid out a roadmap for us to achieve the ARB's recommendation to have 100% zero emission transit buses by 2036. I'm happy to say we'll achieve that by 2025 due to our positioning with our grant funding. As we know, being a small city, grant capital funding to buy electric buses, which are generally more expensive, has been difficult. But as I mentioned, we've been very aggressive with seeking grant funds. As part of that, we are actually relocating our transit yard to what is now the Parks Yard. That is due to insufficient power supply at the existing transit center. As part of this, Edison will be doing what's called make ready work. So they'll be installing a transformer, conduit work at no cost to the city. The city's responsibility is to procure an electrician to install the actual chargers themselves. Picture on the right there, that is an example of our DC fast charger, which can charge our buses in about 3 hours. We received over $100,000 in air quality grants to pay for the 4 chargers. The vehicle that we're purchasing, which will arrive in October of this year, is the EV250 made by Green Power. They're based in Rancho Cucamonga and assembled in Porterville, California. It can get 163 miles. That's advertised. That's not real, especially when you're running air conditioning. But our average mileage on our routes is about 80 miles. So we'll have plenty of battery capacity to meet our route. It has a 10-year lifespan and can carry 26 passengers. So the other half of our shop is doing active transportation planning. And one of the major projects that you've seen right now is in the village with Mita Avenue. That started as a response to outdoor dining. It has morphed into a demonstration project with Plaza and Slow Streets. And we've now worked, as you can see, we're well underway with construction and nearing completion by hopefully early June. So I'll skip to the renderings. This is what actually is out building right now on the street. This is the East Plaza. This is now looking towards Glendora Avenue. What you see here are the games, landscaping, In the back there is the fire pit, which was installed yesterday and turns on, which I was really happy about. The great thing about the fire pit has a 2-hour timer and has a wind sensor. So it'll turn off automatically after 2 hours. And if there's a high wind day, it will not turn on at all. So there'll also be a glass enclosure around the flame to hopefully prevent people like my 6-year-old from reaching in there and grabbing stuff. On the very back end of that are additional bike parking, bike racks, and we're maintaining the concrete barriers there, are the crash resistant planters that you see there to frame the plazas. You also notice the canopy shading with lighting going overhead. On the West Plaza, so this is between Frisellas and Sushinai. You'll notice again the floor mural, which on this side is, I believe, almost done. The Brilli who did the mural on, I'm gonna forget the name of the real estate office, on Glendora and Bennett are the artists that are doing our street mural here. And then you also see additional seating and games in the plaza. And for the bus plaza, this is the overhead canopy, balloon canopy. And then also in the back where we're creating a kind of a frame, a stage area with multicolored boxes that are also function as seating area, as well as cafe tables and chairs in this plaza. And there'll be also string lighting above those. I'll note that's not the color we're going with for the final installation. That was just a conceptual. We're looking at something that matches more of the sky. There'll also be an opportunity for us to change out the colors throughout the seasons and also to make room for the Christmas tree lighting in November. The other major project that we're working on in active transportation is our people movement project, which is 10 miles of bike and pedestrian improvements throughout the city. It includes first last mile, which is looking at how people get to the station as well as from the station. Our urban trails, which are developing our flood control channels to walking, biking trails. The total cost is around $21 million, and we've secured nearly $12 million in grants for that project. This is the map showing the overall layout and vision for the people movement. We've secured 6.6 million from the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. We also have $5 million in earmark from Congresswoman Judy Chu. $5 would be, should do better for that. $5 from Congresswoman Judy Chu in last year's omnibus appropriations bill, and the city's committed about $1.5 million in our CIP funds to match that. Obviously, we don't have $20 million on hand, so council directed us to set priorities. So phase 1 is Glendora Avenue, that would be first last mile improvements, which I'll show in next slides what that rendering looks like. Little Dalton Wash and the San Dimas Wash, which are urban trails. Because we were able to secure the additional funding through congressional earmark, we actually are able to add Foothill Boulevard as part of our phase 1 or scenario 1 option. So first up is our San Dimas Wash project, which is a 1.5 mile extension of the existing urban trail. This is looking at Sunflower and Gladstone. When we did our outreach this summer and over the fall, we heard that the residents wanted more workout equipment and seating in this pocket park opportunity. So we added in a gym area with with picnic benches, as well as reusing outdoor seating. And then on the left there, that's the 12-foot bike path and walking path as well. As the project approaches through Gladstone Park, this gives you an idea of the native landscaping that we'll be installing as part of the project, as well as outdoor seating, water fountain, and bike repair station. At Grand and Arrow, this is another opportunity for us to add additional pocket park space with additional landscaping and outdoor seating. And I'll note here, we submitted our 100% plans to LA County last week, so we are now waiting on our construction permits, which the next step will be after that Army Corps of Engineer approval before we can get to construction. So we're looking at construction starting in March of 2024. As I mentioned, Glendora Avenue is part of phase 1. This is the existing condition at Glendora and Ada. And this is with the roundabout, as well as the bike lanes and enhanced sidewalk and landscaping. This is looking south on Glendora Avenue. This shows you some of the economic development opportunities that come along with extending the village further south. You'll notice the raised protected bike lane signage. And I'll note too, we did not remove any parking as part of our plans. So there actually will maintain 100% parking throughout the corridor here. And then at Carroll, this is the curb extensions, as well as enhanced crosswalks, as well as some opportunities potentially for Green Street, so doing stormwater capture in this area. And then lastly lastly for Glendora Avenue, this is the intersection of Foothill and Glendora. This is one of the most innovative parts of our project, which we've gotten a lot of regional praise for proposing, which is called a protected intersection. This keeps drivers in their lane, bicyclists in their own lane, provides better turning visibility, also provides enhanced pedestrian safety for crossing. And the way it functions is that bicyclists must stay following that green path, which prevents bicyclists from having to veer across 3 lanes to turn left. Vehicles turning right have a little bit of a tighter turn, which slows down turning movements and allows greater visibility as one's crossing the street. It's Foothill Boulevard. This is at Grand and Foothill. And then this is with the train bridge, which is done now. And then looking at the bike lane as well as the lane configuration and landscaping. This is looking towards Vista Bonita. And again, visioning some of the economic development opportunities that come with the investment in the corridor. You will note that Foothill Boulevard does go down to 1 lane in each direction. That is to standardize the alignment from Amelia all the way to Citrus. So there's now a consistent lane configuration. And this area has a center turn lane for access to businesses. One of the things that I'm really happy to announce is that we did complete a Safe Routes to School demonstration project at Washington Elementary. For those who may not know, it's right adjacent to Gladstone, which is functionally a small highway. So elementary kids trying to cross there, it's generally unsafe. So we did a pilot. I'll show you the next picture here. This is with a mid-block refuge, curb extensions. And it went exceedingly well. Parents, the crossing guard, were very happy with this approach. So we are in the process of procuring an engineering firm to do final design and then move to construction, hopefully sometime later this year. And the other one, which is ongoing right now, is in the Glendora Village, which is a similar project with curb extensions and a mid-block refuge. This is a 4-month demonstration project that will conclude in July. We have a survey out right now, so we'd encourage everyone to take the survey, let us know what's going well, what's not going well, and what can we do differently. Looking forward to making the village safer for people to walk around. And with that, I can take any questions the commission has.
Great, thank you. So Commissioner Davis?
I'm confused as to how the bike lanes would work in town.
Mhm.
There's a picture in here. I mean, we've got the outdoor dining, which juts out into it took up parking spaces. Where would that reside? I'm
Yeah, I'll flip to this. Oh, sorry. Okay, so this is as it is right now. So the way the road would get realigned is the dining is going to be between in the village, there's that brick ribbon.
Mm.
That's between the sidewalk and then where the curb is, there's a brick ribbon. That's where those tables would sit in this rendering. Glendora Avenue is exceedingly wide in this section. And so essentially what we're doing is pushing out the sidewalk. That will shift the road over to the east a little bit. And that's how we can fit in a bike lane and maintain parking as well as the outdoor dining. The sidewalks are very wide there. And the right of way
I'm
here.
talking north of Foothill.
This is south. We're not doing anything in the village. This is south.
Oh,
This
okay.
is south of the village.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I misunderstood that then. I thought I saw. a
No, my
picture.
apologies if I wasn't clear about where this was.
I think I misinterpreted well, no, I didn't
Yeah.
misinterpret it.
There's a, I
Slide
think,
23 shows a bike and parking. Yeah. this
I
is
think
it
once
here.
once you get north of Foothill, then it becomes a shared lane. So bikes and automobiles in the village would equally share the lane.
Okay,
Is
because
it-
I'm not sure where this,
This
Yeah.
picture right here.
Yeah.
no, slide 23.
I don't have the slide number on.
In the people mover part?
Glendora Avenue, slide 23. Right there.
Right, this
Is
is south of.
Oh,
of
it's
Foothill.
south. All right, this looked like the vacated real estate office there.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think that's part of.
Okay,
Actually,
all
I
right,
think
so, all
that's-
right,
yeah.
so I'm not oriented properly on this. Okay.
No, my apologies for not explaining where this was.
So this
Yeah.
is south of Foothill? this
Correct.
Picture?
Yes, this is where Equine Insurance is.
Okay.
And
Yeah, it was visioning what could happen.
Yeah.
there.
So anything else, Commissioner Davis?
Yeah, is it, the survey is online on our website or
For the
is it
crosswalk,
for the current test in town here?
I believe it's online. We also have A-frames out with a QR code. So as you're walking by, you can scan it and take the
Okay.
survey. But we'll also make sure that we make the survey very available online.
They were running over that sign that was right there, in town there all the time. And I noticed that things are right only now and down by the bank, it's it's really horrendous trying to get circulation around. You got to go all the way around the block and behind buildings I haven't driven it extensively, but I'm going to get on my motorcycle and give it a go here in the next week or so. But it seemed a little confusing just for feedback from me.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Faber?
Sure. Thank you for the presentation. Is it just one bus we bought or?
Sorry, we've purchased two, which is a part of SoCal Edison's requirement
Okay.
of the program.
And then the East Meta, I haven't been over there, but it's done, you said, outside?
We're getting very close to being completed. Yeah.
Plan a trip over there.
Yeah, we're looking at hopefully sometime in early June
Okay.
to be completed.
And then on the intersection right here, do the bikes turn in that green arrow and the cars on the outside of that island?
Correct, yeah.
Oh, you passed it. There.
I can gesture and I'll talk loudly so you can pick them. So the way this works is, yeah, the bicyclist would follow where that father and son are. And that would lead them along the path. The car turning right now would be able to see the pedestrians crossing as well as the bicyclists.
Yep.
As they approach. The idea is that unfortunately the standard design at an intersection in the US requires a bike to go clear over left, which causes a lot of conflict. This minimizes conflict,
Yeah.
and provides a better sightline.
Perfect. Thank you.
Commissioner Basara?
Thank you for the presentation. Looks like you've been working really hard and I'm really happy to see the bike lanes. I live on the corner of Foothill and Amelia, and the bikers come through there, like hundreds of them every Saturday morning. And it would be really nice if they could go straight down Foothill into downtown and have coffee and spread their wealth around in our community. I think this is a great advantage.
Vice Chair Norwood?
Yeah, it was a great presentation. Thank you. I personally am not a fan of the reduction of lane. I think that even though it's not a commuter street and during the commute hours, that section between that opens up into two lanes heading west is, or coming east and we're reduced. I just think it's a mistake. You get caught and you're just gonna have a line of cars, but that's just me personally. But and the bike lane I think is great. I think we're gonna find that curb site there is gonna need a lot of maintenance and repair. Not to mention the amount of cars that are gonna get damaged because they're just clueless. But we'll adjust, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and that's the thing, as we move through the design process, we can explore, are there ways to, have a rolled curb, for example, so that you don't have a jarring accident. I know what you're talking about when a car hits a curb like that. It's not.
Yeah, because I haven't worked in municipalities. The city will get claims for that.
Right.
They're gonna get
Mhm.
bills from residents and claims for the damage of the vehicles.
Right.
I would definitely look into a rolled curb
Mhm.
as opposed to a standardized curb because it's just that is a sharp turn there.
Right. Yeah, and being mindful of, Foothill Transit as well as fire trucks needing to turn.
Yeah.
That's something that's,
And you get a
rolled
decent
curb
truck
would-
and then they're gonna be making a right-hand turn that's actually hoping that there's people heading westbound aren't right up onto the sidewalk because they won't be able to make the turn.
Right.
So I'm not a fan of the whole configuration of
Sure.
it. I think you can have the bike path without without that particular curbside there. But, and again, I'm not a fan of any lane reduction. I think it's been proven in other jurisdictions and municipalities that, what do they call them, traffic diets or lane reductions have caused more problems than they've helped. And I thought we'd learn more from other municipalities and agencies, but doesn't seem to be the case. So,
I can respond to that if you'd like, or
Okay,
it's-
yeah.
It's up to you. I mean, I don't.
no,
know.
you
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to the Glendora example. So, we didn't just look at these streets and think, well, let's just do a road diet here for, the reason we picked these roads is these are the main access to the Gold Line station. We know from existing that there are a number of bicyclists that use Foothill Boulevard now. And we also looked at the traffic counts. I know you mean by the peak period, but generally speaking, Glendora Avenue is very underutilized. Same with Foothill Boulevard. So we did look at the ADT or the average daily travel in there, and we looked at thresholds for where it would tip into being likely causing congestion. It didn't rise to that. If we did this on Route 66 or Grand, I would completely agree with you that we would just be causing gridlock. The other thing I'll note too is, you brought up claims. Part of why we do a protected intersection is that this is to prevent the city from being sued for a pedestrian being struck in the intersection for having an unsafe driving condition. Glendora Avenue is excessively wide, same with Foothill Boulevard. So this actually makes it so that we are, more protected, because we are designing two standards. We're not just making up design. We are designing two, engineering standards that are, have proven to be, reducing collisions.
Okay.
Well, I have to say, I'm very excited about these. I've been like trying to peek through the little green fence to see how the construction's going and haven't been very successful at that. But just a couple of questions. First of all, the balloon canopy, I'm curious about that. What is the function? Is that just predominantly for shade or for decoration? I've never heard of maybe I'm just behind the times, but I've not heard of a balloon canopy before.
No, that's a great question. So cities have done varying iterations of this. So balloon canopy is one. I think Redlands did umbrellas in their alleyway. The idea here is to create really, like I said, a decoration, so a visual interest. I mean, we know the bus plaza, most people get classic coffee and they just walk right by it, don't even bother looking in there. There's actually a lot of great merchants back there, great haircut play. There's lots of great things to do in the bus plaza. So the idea is that this would catch your eye. You'd want to look back there, see what's happening. Maybe bring your coffee, your to-go lunch, go eat in there, and then hopefully go buy something from one of the patrons or from
And
one of the restaurants.
You said you could change out the colors, like Christmas,
Yeah.
make it red and green, or, something. That'd be kind of
Yeah,
cool.
so they're translucent beach balls. That's
Oh.
actually what they are. And they're going to be at different sizes. And so they're hung on a steel mesh,
Okay.
and they can be swapped out. They last about 3 months. So that's why we kind of think seasonally
Okay.
would be the way to keep it fresh.
I just thought that was so cool. I'd never seen one before. I have a question about some of the road changes as well.
Mhm.
I forget which intersection you said you were putting a roundabout. And I have to say, I am like not a fan of roundabouts because nobody ever knows whose turn it is to go, right? So my concern is, what that's going to do to traffic, because in a roundabout, you all sit there and wait because nobody knows whose turn it is to go. And so what was behind the decision to put a roundabout?
So I know Jeff can probably talk more about the Route 66 plan, how I think the roundabout was originally envisioned as part of that. When we were going through our first last mile planning with Metro, one of the things we noted is that this intersection's probably a little bit too busy for a stop sign, not busy enough for a traffic signal. So the roundabout is kind of that happy medium between the two. The other great thing is this gives us an opportunity to place like a welcome to Glendora or Glendora Village sign in the middle there. That's something I know it's been a long time goal, is to have kind of a welcome sign. Roundabouts, they do function very well. They're
Not in my
They're-
experience.
yeah, and I think that's part of it, right? Is that, when you're a driver, we're so accustomed to, wide lanes and being able to just
Right.
kind of go. This does force you to slow down and kind of take a second to look.
Right.
And that's what we want to see here. Because right now, I mean, I've walked to the post office. I think we all have driven through there. It's kind of more of a California roll
Yes.
through this section. So acknowledging that there's not going to be a lot of adherence to the stop sign, this at least slows down traffic enough where people can hopefully cross safely and drivers take a second before they, enter. And I mean, I know roundabouts are not comfortable. I mean, obviously we have Sierra Madre up on Sierra Madre
Right.
through Rosedale.
Hopefully it'll be
Um,
well marked enough so people kind of know where to go off.
Mhm.
The other question, you talked about the changes that are made in the village already. I've noticed, I go down in the village every Sunday for breakfast, so I've noticed some of those. And you say the survey's online?
Correct, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And the other question I had was with the green bike path, which I think is a great idea because I see bikers kind of doing all kind of crazy stuff sometimes to get across the street. But I can see bikers to most bikers, that's going to be something brand new, especially to like somebody who's just a recreational biker. Is there going to be any kind of, I don't know, some kind of education about this is for you to use and this is how you're supposed to use it? Because I can see people just not even knowing what that was for.
Right. No, that's a great question. I think, Commissioner Norwood, I think you touched on this, right? It's going to be kind of a confusing traffic alignment at first. We have posted a video on our website showing how this intersection functions. Our division does community bike rides throughout the year. And one of the things we try to feature would be something like this, like how to use it properly. There's going to be a lot of education that goes on.
Okay, good.
I'm with this. I
I'll-
agree.
I'll just say also, it becomes pretty clear quickly because there's symbols with a biker in the green lane.
Oh, okay.
Making it,
Good. Well, overall, I think it's great. I'm excited about it. The other question I had was, what about during construction? I mean, are there plans for, traffic during the construction process?
That's a great question. That would probably be something we could answer through the design process, because then we would know the exact dimensions of the project, and then we'd know if and when we'd have to close lanes or adjust lanes to accommodate construction.
Okay, great. But overall, I think it's very exciting. So, okay. Oh, sure. Go ahead.
This is a proposal, or has this been green lighted by council already? And you're just kind of giving us an update.
This has been, as far as it's been greenlit by
I'm
council,
talking
yeah.
about the entire plan.
Yes,
I know the funds and the grant monies and the sharing, and our portion of it.
Mhm.
But the proposed bike lanes and the lane reductions and everything, that's all been green
correct.
lighted
Yeah,
already by
so
council. and approved
yeah,
by
council adopted scenario 1 for our priority setting. This is what we showed, and that's what was adopted.
Okay.
Yeah. Now again, I'll say as we go through a design process, things can change, but generally this is the vision that we're implementing.
Okay, Commissioner Davis?
Back to the bike lanes for a second. And it's not in here. Is there anything in the works for Sierra Madre? Because, much like Commissioner Becerra mentioned, there are hundreds and hundreds of bicyclists. I guess my question is a little twofold. Is there anything planned for Sierra Madre? Because it's treacherous up there, and the road, it'll get repaired through Rosedale. But not all the way, it'll stop at Barranca, and then I don't know what goes from there. And then will any of this continue past the village of Foothill from a bicycle lane all the way to Commissioner Becerra's house?
So yeah, I'll take the Sierra Madre part first. As of right now, we are not working on Sierra Madre. We're just focused on kind of the 10 miles that we have right now. So I agree with you. Obviously, we know Sierra Madre is very popular for road and mountain bikers.
And that's kind of the go-to route when the 210 backs up. They get off at Irwindale, they come over the back way, and Sierra Madre has just become a freeway.
Right. Yeah. So I think as we've moved through implementation on this and we're looking ahead for, future corridors that need improvement, that could be something we could look at. And to your point, I think on the Foothill Boulevard question, looking at that map, you do see kind of obvious gaps in the network, right? So Foothill to the high school would be one, or to Amelia, and then looking at Glendora Avenue, south towards Big Dalton and Little Dalton. Big Dalton and San Dimas Wash. Those are kind of the obvious gaps that we would have after we've completed kind of our first build out here. So as of right now, we're trying to just deliver what we have planned, and then, we can evaluate how we're doing. And then, I also think too, we want to make sure this works first before we roll out, something citywide. So.
Okay, any other questions? I just have one that I just remembered. I thought I heard you say Foothill was underutilized. And as somebody who lives off Foothill, I would find that surprising.
No, I wouldn't say underutilized. It's just that I'm gonna forget the numbers, but there's a certain threshold of ADT where when you reduce a lane and you put all that into one lane now, then you do kind of get gridlocks. You get a gridlock situation.
I see.
So no, I would not say Foothills underutilized. Glendora Avenue is, and
Okay.
that there's, yeah.
Okay, I wondered, I thought you had said Foothill. I was like, wait, that doesn't.
No,
make
sorry.
sense.
If I did, I apologize. I
Okay.
misspoke.
That's all right, no worries. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to request a motion to receive and file the report.
I'll second.
So we have a
Okay.
motion made by Commissioner Basara, seconded by Commissioner Davis. I will now open up so you can vote and I'll conduct an oral roll call vote. Commissioner Basara,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Faber,
Yes.
Vice Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Chair Cost,
Yes,
motion carries 5-0.
okay, excellent. Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite my fellow commissioners if they have any closing statements. Commissioner Basar?
I do not at this time.
Okay, Commissioner Faber?
Can I mention an event in Glendora?
Absolutely.
I just want to mention that there's a new 5K that's going to happen on Memorial Day this year, for trying to replace the Brian Clay event and everything else that was here. So it's Monday, Memorial Day, starts downtown. So please find it on the website. I'm not positive on the website.
On the city website,
I don't think it's on the city website, but
how would somebody register for that if they wanted to? Well, since you brought it up,
I
if people
know.
want to do it, if you.
there is a link that I guess I could share. It's under, I know if you Google Glendora Memorial Day 5K, it will generally find it. It's a very small race currently, but they're trying to make it bigger.
Okay, great.
So.
Thanks. Commissioner Davis?
I don't know if Commissioner Becerra has another meeting. You have one more to go? All right, well, thank you for your time at the next meeting then.
Vice Chair Norwood?
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
And I also have nothing to add for the meeting. So at this time, I'm going to, I'm sorry.
Ask.
Oh, right. I have to ask staff. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to forget about you. Do you have closing comments?
Didn't know Jeff or.
Yeah, I had a couple of things just to kind of make the commission aware of a couple of actions in the realm of real estate that the city council has taken action on recently, just to let you know. So at their last meeting, the city council approved the purchase that the city is acquiring about a little over a 2-acre site near the corner of Arrow Highway and Grand Avenue. And the purpose of that acquisition is to facilitate the development of some affordable housing in the community. Right now, the property is used for a convalescent facility, which is in the process of closing. And so the council approved the acquisition of that. And we've utilized, really what housing funds the city had remaining and some other funds to purchase the property. And so we're in escrow as of today, and we'll be working on identifying a developer who builds affordable housing to develop that site.
Will that be city owned?
When we close escrow, yes, but the idea is that the city would sell it to an affordable housing builder.
Okay.
Is that a home key project?
No, we've not identified it as a home key. We're just acquiring the property right now. We haven't specifically identified a project for the site, so
That's good.
we're just acquiring it for that purpose.
Or towards Arena?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Especially if we do a low income project, it'll help us in that area because we don't have many
Approximately how many units would you say?
I have no idea at this
Okay.
point.
They just lost
There's-
the property.
A little over 2, like
Wow.
2.1, I think. Also, the city council identified property that it owns just north of the corporate yard at the end of San Jose and north of I think that's the Little Dalton or Big Dalton Wash. That's about a 5.8 acre site that the city council identified for surplus property. And there's a formal process that the city has to follow for disposition of surplus property, among which will include, it has to be a housing project, and there have to be, I think it's a certain percentage of the units constructed have to be for low income the low income category. So we are in the process of putting that up for making it available. And so far we have, so we're working on identifying a buyer for that property right now. Those are two things that the council did. Also, the Charter Oak Unified School District has recently put an RFP out for about 5 acres of the school site that they own at the corner of Sunflower and Gladstone. And they're in the process of selling that property. So we anticipate that obviously would be a housing site of some type and coming to the commission at some point. So that just happened, I think, in the last week or two that they put that on the market. So those are things that will probably be coming to the commission in some form as time goes on. And if you get questions from the public, you know what's going on. So just want to pass that on.
And then
Great, thank you.
I also want to bring up on the horizon, and thank you for the emails, correspondence that I've been getting as we were trying to figure out our tentative agendas, getting into the summer months here and having special meetings and canceling it and all that kind of ideas. But we are looking, obviously June, we're definitely going to have a June meeting. And right now we're looking at least 2 items. One of them probably being the general plan housing element, doing the rezonings that's required by the state. Bringing those to you guys for the planning commission's step in that process. And then also our annual CIP review, which we do every year for our public works projects coming for your review. But I'm going to ask it, maybe not as a poll tonight, but maybe I'll just let you know I'm throwing it out. And then if you guys can reach out to me individually, is we are looking at, our planning commission landed on 4th of July. So we obviously have to cancel that meeting on the 4th. The question that I'm going to be asking is, do we want to have a meeting in July? I have a number of items that we were plenty heavy. We would like a July meeting, but I would have to ask for another special meeting if we're going to have one in July. It would probably be July 18th. So if you guys can look at your calendars and maybe reach out to me individually to see if that's something that you can do, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Great. All right, thank you. Anything else? Oh,
Got one quick question
wait,
for.
okay, hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Faber, go ahead.
I'm gonna go for a redo. There's a great 5K coming up in Glendora. Wanted to join it. If you go to Glendora Memorial Day 5K, you can see the website and sign up. It's
Great.
on Memorial Day. Thank you.
Thank you for that redo. We appreciate it. Vice Chair Norwood.
The property, the Charter Oak, is that I forget the name of the school, but is that school, that whole property?
It's Sunflower is the name of the school, and it's on the corner of Sunflower and Gladstone.
But the disposition is not for the whole school.
It's only a
The northern
portion
half
of
of
it.
the
It's only a
school.
portion of the
Where
property.
the athletic field or the grass area?
Correct.
Yeah, it's okay.
Basically
so-
all the grass.
So they would keep the school, but they would sell that portion of the property, and that sits in Glendora.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Great.
All right. and
Were
then-
any of those, can any of those be added to bolster RENA, or would that fold into the next RENA cycle, or?
Anything that is produced in the city, any housing unit between the years 2021 to 29 will get counted toward our arena for the current cycle.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, just shove all the July stuff for the June meeting. We'll stay here till like midnight or so
Or not?
for her last meeting.
Or not?
Just keep her here as long as we can.
All right, anything else? Okay, I declare the meeting closed at